Welcome back to New Little Life. Today we're going to be tackling a good question. I get this a lot. People like to ask me, I really like my Spectra 1 or my Spectra 2. What other pumps are similar or should I consider getting there? So we have lots of videos on the channel about all of these pumps, Spectra pumps, all different kinds of brands. Today we're going to be looking at some other pumps that are, if you've liked Spectra in the past, you'll probably like these ones as well. If you're new to the channel, my name is Allison Tolman. I'm an IBCLC and breast pump expert, and we do all things pumping here. I do work with moms individually inside our Pumping for Working Moms program. So if that's something you're interested in, you can schedule a call down below to apply to work with me. I love it in there. We help not only with choosing a pump, but using it appropriately, fast and efficiently, protecting your milk supply, and doing all of that while we go back to work. So if that's you, click that link down below and let's chat. Okay, let's jump in. So I pulled up my Spectra data that we have tested so far using our little booby barometer, and that really gives us in-depth information on these pumps so that we can compare them a little more objectively into what they're actually doing. So that's always fun. So some things to note about the Spectra pumps right off the bat. The Spectra 1 and the Spectra 2 are very similar. The only difference is the Spectra 1, the blue one, has a battery, so it doesn't need to be plugged in. This one functions exactly the same, the pink one, which is the Spectra 2, but it does have to be plugged into a wall to use. One of the things a lot of users like about the Spectra is the vibration, and that's kind of what the pattern is doing. It's kind of vibrating as it goes up, and a lot of people really enjoy that. Some people don't enjoy that and are looking for pumps that don't vibrate. There are not actually a lot of pumps on the market that are doing that vibration technique. So the pumps today, actually, I think only one of them on this list today has that vibration style similar to the Spectra. All the other ones, though, we've had really good success with either transitioning over to the Spectra or using in addition to it, or maybe you used the Spectra during your last pregnancy and you want something new this time. These pumps that we're going to chat about would all be great options. So a quick rundown of the Spectra before we get started so we know how we're comparing these together. The Spectra on stimulation mode, which is that first mode that you start on, is set at 70 cycles per minute. In expression mode, you can range from 38 to 54 cycles per minute, somewhere in there. I can get pretty good suction on the Spectra on single pumping. I can get 300 at least, sometimes even more than that. Double pumping, it does hold up very well as well. I think I can consistently get around 230 suction when I'm double pumping, which is impressive for a little pump. So there's kind of the basic rundown of the Spectra as we compare it to these other pumps. If any of that information confused you, we can talk more about it. You can come work with me. I'm going to teach you everything you need to know about pumps and pumping. If you're a professional, I have a course for you too, and you can find all that information below. Okay, so the first pump we're going to talk about is a great portable option, a small portable pump, and that is the Genie Advanced from Pumpables. This is honestly one of my favorite pumps, if I can say that. It just performs well, it holds up well. The company has great customer service, which is great. The Genie Advanced is small, it has a lanyard and a clip, which makes it really nice for portable pumping. And we can usually find very similar settings on the Genie Advanced for users that have used Spectra and liked it in the past. Now, it does not have that vibration style, but honestly, everything else you can find pretty similar, which I love. Quick tip for using this pump if you've used the Spectra in the past. I have found that on stimulation mode, which is that first mode, we usually do have to turn up the vacuum level on the Genie Advanced to find the similar actual pressure that we had on the Spectra. So don't be afraid if you have to go a little bit higher on the vacuum level in stimulation mode. The cycles per minute were very comparable. The cycles per minute in stimulation mode on here are 64, they're 70 on the Spectra, so very comparable there. And then once you're in expression mode, I find most of the time Spectra users like to use cycle setting 3, which is one of the faster cycle settings. The cycle settings 1 and 2 are great as well, but they do go slower than the Spectra goes. So if that's something that you're used to, you like a little bit faster, usually that third cycle is where we put most users. Actually, one of my favorite graphics to share is there was a member in my program who actually got the Genie Advanced, and she wasn't quite getting as much output as she was with her Spectra, which I thought was kind of weird because this is a great pump as well. So we plugged in her Spectra settings and I plugged them into my dashboard and found the exact same settings on the Genie Advanced. I am just going to share those with you now in case it's helpful for you. So on the Spectra 1, she was using vacuum level 5 on stimulation mode. We found that vacuum level 9 was a little bit closer to that same setting on the Genie Advanced. In expression mode, she tended to pump on the faster cycles, which about 54 in vacuum level 7. I found that cycle level 3 and a very similar vacuum level in expression mode worked very well. And once we plugged in these settings for her, the output was fantastic. And it really just was, we wanted to start at a similar place with her other pump, and then she could adjust from there once she knew what she was looking for and her body got that all figured out. So anyway, that is one of my favorite little pumps. Anytime someone says, I want a portable pump, I like the Spectra, I'm almost always pointing them toward the Genie Advance from Pumpables. There's a link and I think a coupon code too as well down in the description for you. And then as far as wearable pumps, if we're transitioning from the Spectra to a wearable pump, one of my favorite options for that is the Willow Go. This has suction that is the most similar to that of the Spectra. It does not have that vibration, but it has a very standard suction, I guess you could say. So the Willow 3.0 is that constant suction. That's its own beast. You know, the LVs function quite differently and feel as well. I've looked at a bunch of other, you know, like Mom Cozy ones and just some more off-brand ones on Amazon. Anyway, the Willow Go consistently for me is what I'm recommending, and we're finding the best success with Spectra lovers. So this is a nice little pump and works well. Also, a link and any coupon codes will be down in the description for that one as well. And then if we're comparing like actual tabletop pumps, like maybe you had a Spectra in the past and you're looking at your insurance now going, hey, there's some new options. Which one do I pick? I find myself recommending this particular pump more and more often, even over the Spectra. And that is the Unimom Opera. For some reason, I'm seeing this often covered by insurance companies at zero cost or very low cost. And the Spectra is, you know, usually the Spectra 2 is low cost or free. And then the Spectra 1, sometimes it's like a $90 upgrade or something. And to be honest, the battery feature is worth it. So I almost always, you know, recommend that if it's within your budget. If it's not, go with the other one. It's still a great pump. But this Unimom Opera is like a $600 pump. I mean, we do have a 20% off coupon that can save you quite a bit. That's down in the description. But anytime it's covered fully by insurance, and I'll put a DME that I know of that covers it consistently down in the comments for you. I am always recommending this one. I mean, it is smaller for one and lighter. And that's probably my biggest complaint about the Spectra is the bulkiness of it. The shape is a little bit awkward too anytime you put it in a pumping bag. It's round and I don't know. Whatever. It's a good pump, but every pump has its drawbacks. This one is a lot smaller. It fits in bags a lot better. It also has a lot more settings. So you have a wide variety of options to play with on this pump, and even more than you do on the Spectra. Again, it doesn't have that vibration style, but I have had excellent luck with this pump. So anytime I'm stuck comparing those two, I almost always lean toward this Unimom Opera. Not because I don't like the Spectra, but I've been really impressed with that pump, and it has some extra pros in the pro column that I just can't overlook. Okay, for this next one, I actually did try and find a pump that had a vibration pattern similar to a Spectra, because that's probably the question that I get asked most often. The Medela Pump and Style MaxFlow, their new one, does have a vibration pattern to it, but that pump does function quite a bit differently and has some other not so fun features to it. So that one does have, if you look at their marketing, the vibration. But the one that I picked that would be my recommendation for anyone who likes a Spectra would be the Ameda Pearl. This is a fairly new pump to the market. This is a multi-user pump, so it's a little bit more expensive than some of your other pumps, but it does have that vibration pattern that a lot of Spectra users are liking. The screen is really big. It's very simple to use, but you do have more setting options, cycle speeds, vacuum pressures on this one than even you do on the Spectra, which is cool. The vacuum levels were similar though, so you're going to have the suction that you need, no problem. But this little pump was probably the most similar when we're looking at the pattern, that vibration. And so I did want to mention that one because it is a nice option. I'm not seeing many users actually just buying and using this pump, but it is really nice. If you're a professional looking for a pump to rent out, that would be a great option. Or if for some reason you want to kind of upgrade from the Spectra, but you want something with that similar feel, I think the Ameda Pearl would be a really nice option for you. And then I did just want to mention one more pump as we wrap it up here, which is the Spectra 9. Now, this is Spectra, right? So you'd think that they'd be very comparable and similar, but they're not really, actually. This Spectra doesn't have that vibration pattern that we love on the other one. The cycle speeds are quite a bit slower as well. You can't actually control the cycle speeds at all on this little pump. It's only vacuum level. So this can be a good pump. It has some good suction, and especially when you pair it with the Spectra Cara cups, it can be a really nice portable option. I still almost always recommend the Genie Advance over this one, but I did want to just mention this one because it was that Spectra brand. Just because it is a smaller pump that Spectra makes doesn't mean that it's necessarily like this in a small package. It's definitely not, but it can be a fine option. Sometimes it just takes a little bit more finessing to work around. I always like it when pumps have more setting options available, even if they are more limited. So when we're looking at portable pumps, that's kind of a big thing for me. I like to be able to play with it a little bit. And if we're not finding a setting that works for you, at least we have some options where on something like this, it's just up and down, you know, we just can control the suction, which again, not a bad thing. But one pro of the Spectra 9, if you already are using a Spectra 1 or 2, is that all the parts are identical. All of your flanges, all your bottles, all your valves, everything will be all the same. So that can be really nice too. And there is something nice about just using like a brand that you enjoy consistently. So I get that too. Okay, I hope that was kind of fun. I hope this answers a question that I get a lot. Tell me in the comments, what pumps do you like? Have you used the Spectra before? What other ones do you enjoy? Again, these are kind of just my opinions and what I've gathered from my research, but there are a lot of pumps out there and a lot of experiences. So share those down below with us. If you want some help pumping and making this all work a little bit easier and you want to work with me, again, apply down in the description and I'd love to meet you. All right, we'll see you on the next video. Bye.